All right, let's talk some mouth reads. Alex with Pacific Calls here, and you've probably found this video because you scanned the QR code that was on the back of our beginner pack. You also may be doom scrolling YouTube, I'm not sure, but either way, welcome. So the vision for this whole project is to provide very short yet detailed videos regarding all things mouth reads. And we also want to provide as many perspectives as possible. And so a different member of our team, whether it be myself, Wyatt, Trevor, we're all going to do a video on a different topic. And the hope is that you will gain an understanding not only in how mouth reads are made, what purpose they serve, how to use them, as well as gain some knowledge in how to employ tactics, tips, anything to help you be more successful in the field. Now, this is going to be kind of a growing or moving library, if you will. So be sure you guys subscribe to the channel because we're going to be adding videos to this throughout the season, hopefully with some frequency, but that is the game plan. Now, I'm the one who drew the short straw, and I get to introduce to you the whole video series as well as talk about the real basics of a mouth read. You've already taken a huge step in purchasing the beginner pack, and so let's dissect these things a little bit further and gain an understanding about what exactly we have. Mouth reads are an insanely awesome tool that should be in your tool belt to go turkey hunting. They take up virtually no space and, in my opinion, are the stealthiest way to kill a turkey. Think about it. You're out in the field, you're hunting, you lean up against a tree, and if you have to dig around in your vest, dig out your pot call, and start playing it with your hands, you're creating movement. If you're squawking a box, it's even worse. That mouth read, you can put up your face mask and make all your turkey vocalizations without any movement whatsoever. It is a huge asset to be out there chasing these dinosaur-ish looking creatures. I've always felt that if I understand how something is made, I'm going to gain a better understanding of how to effectively use it. So hopefully you out there in YouTube land feel the same way, because that's kind of the direction that I'm going with this video. Now, with that in mind, there are three main components that make up a diaphragm, or the latex reeds, the frame, and the tape. Now, each serves a specific function. So to make the read work, we mix and match those various components with a specific or desired effect in mind. The first component that we talk about is indeed the latex. These form the individual reeds themselves. Now, latex, when you order it, comes in little tiny squares, and those squares come in a variety of colors. They come in a variety of thicknesses. Most calls are comprised between 2 and 4 pieces of latex. But the majority of them that are out there, and the majority of the ones that we produce, are indeed 3 reed calls. We stack latex in sort of a sandwich style, mixing and matching the thicknesses for our desired effect. Thicker latex makes for a heavier blowing call. Thinner latex makes for a lighter blowing call. Now, we also like to take extremes, whether that be a very, very thick top reed and all the way down to prophylactic on the bottom, to just try to generate a different feel and different combinations for different tones. In most cases, the top reed is the thickest, and it's the one that's going to get cut. The second reed is going to be a bit thinner, and it's going to be the one that provides the high pitch, or the front end of each of those turkey vocalizations. Don't worry, we're going to talk about cuts later. We're just understanding what reed does what and why they're located where they are. Now, this sandwich is then stretched to a desired tension. Trust me, that's a topic on its own that we'll talk about later. But that whole assembly is then held in place by component number 2, which is the aluminum frame. Frames are typically made of thin annealed aluminum. They come in several different configurations, more importantly, different sizes. But the majority are made with a medium, kind of one size fits most approach. Now, if you are a smaller individual, youth, female, or just a tiny dude, you may need a youth size frame to have it fit your palate better. Or if you're a big burly guy and you just got a big mouth, you're Freddie Mercury for God's sakes, you might need a large frame. Fit becomes really important, so as you try different mouth reads, pay attention to how that aluminum frame actually sits on the roof of your mouth, and you may need to adapt or change depending upon your size. Now, that assembled reed is then trimmed of all of its excess latex and then wrapped in component number 3, which is tape. Tape serves one main purpose. It is the seal that keeps the mouth reed located on the roof of your mouth and directs air between your tongue and the bottom of the reed. If the reed isn't sealed or seated properly, you lose efficiency and the reed will not operate the way that it should. Now, the funny thing about tape is it's the one thing that'll make our mouth reed work well, but it's also the leading culprit to that gag effect that a lot of people aren't stoked on with mouth reeds. It is something that is pretty common, but it's totally fixable. The tape in itself, even though it's got that nice die cut shape on it, it can totally be modified. Now, after you get all of these components assembled properly, we then have a nearly completed mouth reed, but we still have to talk about the cut. Cuts are performed on the top layer of latex, and there are a zillion different combinations out there. Whatever, snake tongue, rabbit ear, reverse, this, that, the other thing. There's so many of them, it's easy to get lost, okay? The main reason that a cut exists is to provide access to the reeds beneath that top layer. And we can take those cuts and then properly fit individual calls to individual people. So here's what you want to think of. Typically, small or light cuts will be easier to manipulate, but be a little bit cleaner and quieter. More ragged or aggressive cuts will be louder and raspier, but you're going to have a hard time learning control. You will also see that there's a directionality to cuts. Some of them are more off to the left, some of them are more off to the right, some of them are more down in the middle. That's going to become important because as you learn how to identify your air channel and which ones work for you, we'll actually be able to eliminate whole sections of cuts just based on your natural mouth mechanics. So to simplify, let's just focus on the 5 cuts that are in your beginner pack. You're going to see that you've got one that has no cut, a ghost cut, a bat wing, a combo cut, and a reverse combo cut. Now these cuts were selected as they are the 5 most common cuts. And between you and me and the fence post, most of the other crazy cuts that are out there are just indeed modifications of these more simplistic cuts. The reason you have these 5 is 2 of them are going to help us establish good turkey vocalizations and proper mouth mechanics to obtain that. The other few are going to help us determine which air channel that you need. Again, this is all stuff that we're going to cover in a later topic because we need a lot more time to do it. So with that, let's wrap up this first video. Hopefully you gained some knowledge about what a mouth reed is and understanding as far as how they're built. But I understand this is like the chalk talk of all of the videos, so hopefully I didn't bore you to death. The next video, which I will totally link below here in the description for you, is going to be us actually taking the calls and start blowing them and teaching you the proper air presentation and mechanics to get good turkey vocalizations. We'll see you there.